Everyone. This is Marina Rose, CEO and founder of Spitfires and Sea Roses. Today, I'm really excited to be able to share a friend of mine, Maria Kay, with you. Let me just tell you a little bit about Maria Kay. She is the success, freedom, and happiness coach, deep transformational facilitator, and life mentor. But as well as that, she is also the producer of the Golden Ticket Telesummit. Welcome, Maria.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Marina. It's a pleasure.
This is great. I'm really excited to get down and dirty and find out what's going on with you. So let me just start out with, I always like discussing what, as you do as well, what really brought us to where we are today. But more specifically, what brought you to decide to want to be a coach and help others? Because, for me, that was honestly, for me, that was like this huge responsibility. It was really hard for me to put myself out there because it's like the whole doctor, do no harm to the patient first. So I just took it as such a big responsibility that I was going to be working with these people and helping them. But that was one of my fear breaking points of, not wanting to harm them until I got out there and realized that when you do things from love in the right place, there's no harm that can happen. So how was that for you?
I think initially, as I'd brought myself through quite successfully many points in my life where I had hit rock bottom, and I managed to bring myself up all alone with the help perhaps of, the odd self-help book and sheer determination, really. And I think one of the very first ahas for me was in my late teens when I'd been through a number of years of suffering with eating disorders. And I actually self-healed. And one of the most powerful books that I read at that time was Louise Hay's I Can Heal Your Life, or You Can Heal Your Life, rather. And then I went through, fast forward a good number of years, the deconstruction of my life, which saw me going from married with 2 children, multiple businesses, multiple properties, to that all crumbling around me, and finding myself in the doctor's surgery, the doctor trying to give me medication, and thinking, well, that was a big sort of alert for me, a big sort of alarm bells, went off for me. And those 2 major incidences, and the way that I kind of pulled myself out of rock bottom and up again, and after each time I would emerge bigger, better, stronger, and having developed my own coping mechanisms, my own coping tools. So for me, I started to really understand that there wasn't really anyone out there that I could turn to other than the doctor's surgery, who was trying to give me medication. I did have counselling and therapy, and in fact I was trained in that area myself. But what I started to realise was that each week we'd sit there and we'd go over the same things, and we would literally just, what I always say, swimming in your own bathwater week in, week out, right? So I soon started to understand that I had this power, this strength to facilitate transformations, and I did it for myself. And so that was kind of one of the routes in. There were a couple of others too, but I think that's the most powerful one to tell in this moment.
So really, you feel like the catalyst for you putting yourself out there was that simply you were transforming your own life and you were able to do that on your own. So you certainly can do it for others, right?
Absolutely. And then the final kind of nail in the coffin, as it were, was after a very special relationship broke down, and at the time it was I use this term, it was the cracking open of me. I don't know if that resonates with anyone, but I really did feel like that was it. I wasn't going to, that was it. Couldn't do it anymore. But then I was very firmly placed on my spiritual path. Although I had dabbled, I dipped my toe in up until that point. That was when things just kind of went jing, 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 all into place. And it wasn't an overnight process. It took years. But being able to be in a place where I started to shift my belief system. I started to shift the way I was choosing to feel. So I was really going deep on managing my daily state, really deep on managing how I wanted to show up every day and how I wanted to design my life and redesign it at that time, because again, it was a complete overhaul. So the next sort of phase there was I was being really carefully guided by the universe, God, whatever terminology you guys like to use. And it was a powerful time in my life. So I then kind of got these confirmations. And if any of you are familiar with, the messages that you receive, or get the synchronicities kind of, they were coming at me, left, right, and center, and I had no choice but to listen. So it was cemented really that this is the work I need to be doing, and I had no choice in the matter, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be fulfilling the promise that I made when I came to this planet.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it, Maria. And what I love discussing with my clients too is when you get to that point like you did, it's just so, how do I say it? Like you said, you don't have a choice in the matter, and you never look at life the same again. It's like it's not possible anymore. Your perception has completely shifted.
Absolutely, and you do enter into a space, Marina, and I'm sure you felt it yourself, of, well, it's my job, it's my duty, right? If people, and I will say to you guys, at first, when I started to shift into, okay, well, if this is what you want me to do, please guide me, please show me, because I don't know what I need to do. I quit this secure lifestyle, this secure profession to embark on this, and there were breadcrumbs, but there was no clear. You don't go to school to learn how to do this in an authentic way. Anyway, we'll just say. So very quickly, I was provided with the training ground and the opportunities and everything that I needed was there for me, provided I was listening and aware and willing to be guided. But very quickly, I was being given people to work with. Right, people who were right on my doorstep, who I would see on a daily basis, and just by having one kind of specific conversation, one little thing that they would say, they'd ask me a question, and I would reply, and then before we knew it, we were in a client coach relationship, and that happened on a good number of occasions, and then it started to really sink in that, okay, I need to pursue this more seriously.
So the universe was really already delivering you.
Yeah.
So you knew everything you needed. And I love the one point that you made about, you said something about having experience and going to school for doing this kind of work. I really feel that, especially these days, that in the new energy that's shifting, it's not about the schooling that we have, it's about our experiences that we bring to the table. And I think this actually in all arenas of work. I've always felt that you can learn all of the things that are in the books and in school, but you can never learn that ardent experience that we've had in life that we can share and have empathy and compassion for others. There's something about that energy connection when you have that allows the connection to help others shift.
100%, Marina. I'm totally behind you on that one. And I've tended to do it the opposite way around in my life. I've been drawn into a certain area, interested, a passion ignited, and kind of just sort of gone for it. And then I've done the schooling, and then I've done the formal training. And I'm not suggesting that that's the way everybody needs to do it, but it's always been a very prominent running theme in my life that I develop my own authentic ways first, in order to be able to keep showing up in that way. And because the work that we do, Marina, don't you find, is and as I mentioned earlier on, I do class myself as a vehicle for the universe to use for healing, for developing and transforming, and just allowing other people to really live out their life purpose in a way that is going to serve them and those people around them. So I do feel as though when we can surrender and put down the textbooks just for a moment, the magic that can happen between two people in whether it's a one-on-one setting or in a group setting is so beautiful, so powerful. So very often I've been invited to speak at a public engagement, and the organisers always want me to say, they always want the title. They want an outline of what I'm going to speak about. And I've always found that very difficult to give them any specifics, because the way I usually work in those settings is I need to connect with the energy of what people are there to receive, what they need, so that I can deliver what is needed, what they need to hear, not what my logical brain thinks that they need to hear. So it has been a wonderful journey, and I'm just so very grateful that I am able to surrender and just be guided and show up in a way that God and the universe want me to on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the perfect lead-in for what I wanted to ask you about allowing. When you said surrender, allowing is one of the steps in my program, and it's been instrumental in moving me forward in my life. But to get to that point of figuring out that balance of allowing was a journey. So when you say surrender, that really reminds me of the energy of allowing. So I would love for you to comment on what that means to you, that word allowing, and if that has been in your life and what it's done for you.
It's a juicy one, isn't it, Marina? I'll start with my experience with my clients, and some of them, not all of them, but most of the time we are so fixated on what we want to create, right? Especially when we understand the laws of the universe and that we can create our life by design. So we get so into it, and we have fun with it, and we design it, and we get clear, and it's all flowing, and then we block it, right? And it can be a number of things. Fear, it can be, well, actually, do I really deserve it? Self-worth issues, a whole long list of different reasons why we sabotage our journey and our life. So very, very often the opportunities are thrown at us. They're there. They're kind of, the streets could be paved with gold, but very often we choose to just keep looking up or anywhere but where it wants us to look. So when it comes to surrendering or allowing, as you say, it really is something that requires you to be in a sacred space. And I know that you have a wonderful daily practice, morning and evening, of being in that space of just opening up and communicating and asking to be led and guided and all of that. So when we are able to include in our day some short period of time where we do find ourselves in stillness, in just that state of neutrality that I call, a state of nothingness, then it's far easier for us to surrender and allow, right? So I would say be aware of where you're not allowing, and a really great tool is to just, get it down on paper and be in constant dialogue with yourself. Why, how could this be, how could that be, why has that shown up? And that's going to uncover so much for you as to why you're not already where you want to be. Because as we all know, as soon as that desire comes through us, as soon as that idea, as soon as that inspired thought has come through us, if we allow it, it can show up in the very next moment, right? Because it's already there.
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Maria. It's like that learning, like you said, being in that sacred space, but the learning of the trusting almost, that when you do allow that, it's going to be okay when it presents itself, and it's here for your highest good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, you speak a lot about guidance and connecting with the universe and helping you be where you are today. Has your intuition and your guidance been something that came very naturally to you? I know that this is something that a lot of people, my clients, everybody wants that tapped in, tuned in, turn on intuition. So was it something that you were born with, or was it something that throughout life you just kind of clicked in, or did you start practicing to get better at?
Well, I think, Marina, we're all born with it. If you just observe any small child, you'll see them quite tapped in and tuned in and quite, switched on. So I do believe I was born with it. I do remember having some experiences as a child. But like most of us, we get integrated into society and normal life, and we're very often told that we don't know anything. We're so often, and it kicks in the early years when we're told to eat, what to eat. We're told what to do and what not to do, and then it kicks in at school, and so any connection that we do have with our intuition, any development of that, is very quickly sort of stripped away from us, and it can be quite a harsh process, right? Especially when like me, I was quite sensitive. In fact, Dorian Virtue calls us, earth angels, especially if you're sensitive and you are in tune with what the truth is. So I did lose it for many years. In fact, it got completely wiped away from my consciousness because of the things that you do on a daily basis. You just listen to the adults around you, you listen to your teachers, and so it wasn't until that experience that I had when a very dear relationship came to an end, and I did find myself almost deconstructed again, if you imagine like a web, it really was just torn down and torn to pieces, and then there was like nothing there. So I really had to rebuild. And in that rebuilding of who I was, I did develop a very beautiful daily practice, which included meditation, included an extensive yoga practice, it included being outside in nature on a daily basis, and various other activities, ways of being, various different studies that I would undertake. So with all of that supporting my truth, my ability started to really come back quite strongly. So
beautiful. So do you find that is something that you work with, that you tap into all the time with your clients? Is it something that clients come to you to work with you on? Do you help them achieve where you are at with your intuition?
The way I have developed it, Marina, is that I don't tend to shout about it too much to clients, and I just simply trust that clients will be guided to me in the perfect way, And the reason I don't is because I have, in my experience, noticed how in that arena it's very tempting for a client or somebody to put all the well, that's not the right word. to place all the responsibility on the coach or the intuitive or the psychic, right? And what I've come to really learn as one of the most important points is we have to do the work. So I absolutely do allow those abilities to kick in when I'm working in a group setting or one-on-one with people. But I have developed a really powerful method of fusing those abilities with traditional psychotherapy and also the more modernized coaching methods that I'm sure you're very familiar with too. So it is very much a beautiful kind of dance of using and pulling out, and I call it my bag of tricks. So I do, I don't hide the fact, but what I really passionate about doing is making it clear to anyone that wants to work with me that are you willing to do the work, because it does take work.
Absolutely. Yes.
But it's fun,
Yes, yes. And so what, do you have a special tool that you feel, like for myself, my special tool is scientific analysis. I just use that. It's like, boom, we're right there. I bring the clients right where they need to be. Shifts happen immediately. So do you have something similar to that you tap into that you like, that you've really seen really works well?
Well, before I stepped fully into this arena, I was in the world of therapeutic dance, holistic dance, mind, body, soul dance, and that was what I did. I traveled around the world teaching people how to facilitate those classes, and although I don't actually teach that on a daily basis, I do when I run my retreats, but it doesn't have to be in a formal setting. So what I do is encourage my clients to put music on and literally move their body. I've found that modality to be so powerful and also accelerate the journey, because, as I'm sure you already know, anything that we've ever experienced in our life accumulates in our body, in our cells, in our physical body. Any wounds, any upsets, any traumas, we walk around with them, right? That's why we're, riddled with aches and pains and shoulder pain and various different ailments. So I always encourage some type of movement, whether it is dance, free dance, just, pop on your favorite song and just move in the morning before you start your day, or whether it's something that's really passionate, you're really passionate about, yoga practice, cycling, anything. So physical movement is a powerful modality, but I always say figure out what it is for you, right? I encourage journaling, I encourage meditation. I do take my clients and my groups through processes. So I merge guided visualization with energy healing. I call it manipulating the energy. So with words are so powerful, and but always using the energy of the client in that moment. So we never try and run before we can walk. It's always about nice and gently moving forward, one shuffle at a time sometimes.
Yep, that's right. And I love that, because it really is true about, sometimes everybody thinks, oh, it's all up in my mind, and that's where we have to focus. But to release all of that built up, like you were saying, energy and blockages, and we just hold it all physically in our body. And to me, I mean, I can viscerally feel that. I love running outside, and I just literally, when I'm running outside, I picture all of the stuff just coming down and being taken from Mother Earth, like every step I take, and I come back and it's like I'm a new person, So I know that, especially tying that to music and being able to, that's tapping into, excuse me, even deeper, because of the sound, bringing in that sound that I really believe makes big shifts as well. It's like when you think of songs, Why do you like that song so much? Sometimes you don't even know, and it just might be the frequency that's behind the song that really uplifts your spirit. And so I think that's beautiful to be able to move your body and release that. Ooh, I love it. So you speak about your weekend retreats, which I think sound fabulous, and I was wondering if you would just tell us a little bit about them, and are you planning on continuing them? What's your, I know you just had one.
Yes, we just had one last weekend, and oh, I've had so much beautiful feedback from the women. They are women's retreats. I feel very drawn to working with women in that arena. And I was inspired to create that weekend from a song, actually. I was out doing my nature walk, and the song Live Your Life Like It's Golden came on, and the words just touched me. I had to stop, and then I completely designed the outline for the weekend there and then on my little device in the notes section, and that's where it was born. And I was just really aware of how I've been on so many retreats and worked with so many mentors to develop myself spiritually, and I had yet to find a platform or a space where I could work on my inner world and develop myself spiritually, as well as taking care of the externals, the things that women love to do as women, you know, look nice and feel pampered and eat good food and maybe have a glass of wine, whatever it is for you. And I just had noticed that usually the two don't mix together. You either go on an all-out girly weekend where you get pampered, you get dressed up, and you go shopping, or it's the other way around, and it's just all the inner stuff. And because I'm all about, you know, balance and really enjoying all of the gifts that the universe has to give us, I really wanted to create a space where women could come and experience it all, and also connect with other women, all the while recreating their own golden life. So without wanting it to be over heavy, and just leaving the women to set the pace for themselves of the weekend. You know, there's always an extensive timetable of various activities. We dance, we create. This weekend we made essential oil infused bath salts, beautiful. We journal, we do go inside, we do work on the deep stuff to clear and heal, but we also get dressed up and go and have cocktails and then have a lovely dinner, you know, so it's a real beautiful balance. And yes, I am planning to do more. We are taking a break for a year, but we are doing that to explore new venues, and hopefully by a beautiful beach somewhere warm. So I will keep you all posted.
That sounds fabulous, Maria. I love that, and I love that you merge, you know, having fun with the learning. You know, I just think that's perfect, because that's, to me, that's where all the learning happens. Because you can't be all in that heavy mindset and not enjoy yourself. And
absolutely, and I don't know if it's ever happened to you guys where, you know, you've probably been on something like this, or you've read a lot of material. Self-development, personal development, spiritual material, and it's kind of like, whoa, I just want to watch trashy TV and eat a bit of junk food, right? And that's just all about, you know, the dance, the journey, and it really is about honoring what you need in that moment. And this is something that I say over and over again to my clients, especially at the retreats. It's my opening talk, that this weekend is for you guys to learn and relearn, because as women, as adults even, we've forgotten how to do that, because we're constantly dictated to by the diary, by the clock, by our boss, by the children's diary or calendar, right? So it's a powerful practice run to be able to take time out to do that. So I encourage them. The timetable is there, but if you want to, you know, spend the morning in bed, then it's your choice to do so.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I just feel like people learn so much better if they're not thrown into all the information, and it's fun and exciting, and like you said, it's already the beginning of you starting to give them their own power. You know, they have their own choices.
Yeah,
which is
I love
perfect.
that. Definitely love that word, power.
So maybe we'll meet each other on the beach in your next retreat.
I
Maybe
think
we
so.
will.
Yeah, more than
Very
welcome.
great. Well, so do you have any last thoughts? And before you say any last thoughts, if you don't mind commenting on fear, this is always a big, with all of my clients, and I'm sure you find this with all of yours, most of yours. There's a fear wall.
Yeah.
And to me, the gold is on the other side. And what's your best advice to those that are watching that are maybe facing a situation that they want to make that next step, but they're very comfortable. We get very comfortable in our life where everything's great, it's working right, but I feel like I need to do this, but I'm fearful of the what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of advice do you give your clients, or that you could give us right now that would help?
Ask a few questions first, okay? What's critical that you resolve now? So what is going on in your life? I always find that questions are really powerful, Marina. So this is why I'm sort of going at it from this angle. What is
Yeah.
critical right now that you're not happy with that needs to change? Right? It might be weight. It might be something to do with your finances. It might be your career. Excuse me. It might be something that needs fixing in a relationship. Right? Is it critical? And why, right? If you don't address it, what will happen, or what won't happen, right? And then what are you willing to do? Are you willing to do what it takes?
Mm.
And then just a few comments. What's the worst that can happen? And be willing to suck, right? When it comes to trying something new, having that conversation for the first time, stepping out into a new business, taking action to improve your health, whatever it may be in your life, be willing to suck at it, and don't give up the first time you fail or stumble. That's what there's a quote, isn't there? And I can't recall the exact wording, but words to the effect of, if you keep doing what you're already doing, you're likely to keep getting the same results. So it doesn't matter how fearful you might be, if you know what you want, you need to be willing to do whatever it takes. And then I'm just going to add a side note in there. Get support. Get somebody or a group of people to be accountable to, right? Because that has been one of the most powerful decisions that I ever made all those years ago, is to hire somebody to kick my butt and tell me when I'm being a wuss, basically, right? Because we only get one chance at it, guys, right?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Maria. And you really did hit a point there, because um, one fear factor I had, my coach years ago kicked my butt, and that's why you and I are talking today. So there's definitely, and I think that also when it's the bigger fear it is, you really need somebody to be saying to you, it's okay. And we'll walk through this together. And like you said, what's the worst case scenario? So yeah, that's definitely a must. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So also, Maria has an incredible offer that she would like to offer to everybody today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that, Maria?
Excited. I would like to offer you about 30 minutes to hang out with me and allow me to help you get clear, go deep, discover what is going on for you that is displeasing you. And together we will put together a clear plan of action to help you move forward to exactly where you want to be. And we can do that via Skype or telephone, doesn't matter where in the world you are. This is why I love what we do, Marina, because we can connect with anybody in the world. So give yourself that gift, 30 minutes with me, and I look forward to connecting with you and hanging out with you.
Great. Thank you, Maria. Yes, so if anybody is resonating with what Maria has to say, her experience, I always feel like when you have similar experiences as that person, they really know how to help you on that path, So with listening to Maria today and what she's experienced in her life, if it sounds similar, then you should definitely take her up on her fabulous offer. That is a very generous offer, Maria. So thank you. And that will be it for today, everybody. Thank you, Maria, so much. This was fabulous.
Thank you. I had a blast. Thank you.
And I hope everybody else enjoyed it, and hopefully they got some good golden nuggets out of today. And we will see everyone the next time. So have a fabulous day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.